I'm Eric Porterfield with the United Nations Foundation, entering the next panel. As you can see, these two guests don't need any introduction since you see them every night in your living room. The first is Dr. Richard Besser, ABC News' Chief Health and Medical Editor. And we also have JuJu Chang, the correspondent on 2020 and Nightline. Please join me in welcoming both.
I don't know that it matters, but it might, so I pay attention. I do as I'm told.
Very good. Great. Had to put up the props. Well, it's great to be here to talk to you all at this summit. I mean, what is better than social good? What I'm here to talk to you about is a new initiative, something that I'm extremely excited about, and this is called the Million Moms Challenge. And I want to explain what that is, give a sense of why we're undertaking this and why we are so thrilled to be partnering with the UN Foundation around this. So this is a historic, first of its kind operation, and it's an attempt to engage 1 million people in the United States with millions of mothers around the world, around a conversation, around a grassroots movement to try and improve the health status of women and children around the globe. It's the creation of a virtual global community. And you think of that and you think, well, what can you accomplish by those kinds of linkages? You know, the goal here is to help people fulfill a dream that we have here, that mothers have everywhere around the world, to have a healthy pregnancy, to have a healthy baby, to have that baby who survives and thrives. And so why are we focused on this problem? Why is this important? Well, you know, we know the statistics are very bad around maternal child health around the world. Every 90 seconds, a woman dies during pregnancy or childbirth. And we have the ability to prevent 90% of those deaths. You know, more than 50 million women give birth around the world without a trained birth attendant. And up to 1.5 million newborns die within the first 24 hours of life. These kinds of things are preventable. I've spent my career in public health. I'm a newbie to ABC. I've been there a couple years, but I was at the Centers for Disease Control for the majority of my career, and I'm a pediatrician. So I'm very passionate about these issues. And about a year ago, ABC, in partnership with support from the Gates Foundation, started a one-year initiative. This is called Be the Change, Save a Life. It kicked off with a 1-hour special that Diane Sawyer hosted last December. And it was an attempt to put all of our correspondents out around the globe, covering global health in a way that Americans had not seen before, telling stories of important problems, but stories of hope that showed some of the solutions, some of the easy things that could be done, things that anyone around the country could do to participate to save lives, and how easy it was. And we've been telling those stories. JuJu's told some of those stories. And you know, every correspondent who's gone out on that, I've talked to when they've come back, and I've never seen people as excited and motivated about any story that they've done than these stories. It's been fantastic. But one thing we've all realized in doing this is that in doing this campaign, we haven't engaged the people around the country in the way we wanted to. And so there comes the idea of this Million Moms Challenge, to engage people in an everyday basis. You know, for one of my stories, I went to Bangladesh, and we did this story on a program called H2O for Life. And we Skyped between a middle school classroom in Alexandria, Virginia, and students in Bangladesh. And they had a conversation. They were connected over Skype. And most of it was around, you know, what do you like? What are your classes? And they were pretty similar. What do you like for lunch? What do you like to do for fun? And, you know, they played badminton, and the American kids were playing basketball. And it was a great conversation. And then they got to toilets. And the kids in Bangladesh said, how many toilets are in your school? And they said, well, we've got 4 on every floor, and we've got 2 for the girls and 2 for the boys, and we have about 16. And the kids in Bangladesh said, well, we have 2, but they don't work. And we hold it all day so we can go home and go to the bathroom. And the kids in America said, this is not right. We're going to fix this problem. We're going to hold bake sales. We're going to raise money. We're going to solve this problem. And they did. They've raised money to bring latrines to the school, to bring running tap water to the school. And it just said to us all, if you can make these kind of connections, face to face, put people with people, you can do a lot. So why are we doing this? Why are we reaching to social media? Just being connected does not create influence, but having a conversation can. And when you engage some of the most influential bloggers in this country, you can make something happen. You have the power to change the world through what you do by putting a face to these problems that exist in this country and around the globe. It's not either or. It's can you solve them all? And so we're very excited about this movement. We're very excited about creating some momentum behind this. We want you all to go to millionmomschallenge.com and sign up and participate in this global community, because it's easy to do and it feels good. And I think that once we get the ball rolling, we can really make a difference. So I want to turn to JuJu, who's going to give more details and more exciting news.
Well, I think Rich hit it on the head when he says, this is really about what can we do. How you hear all these statistics, you hear all these heartbreaking stories, and you think to yourself, what can I do? Well, I think of myself as a pretty typical mom. I have 3 boys, and we talk baseball, Little League all the time, Rich and I, 10, 7, and 4, and they have the kinds of problems that most of your kids probably have. But I remember something happened to me when I became a first-time mom about 10 years ago. I became obsessed with my children. I became obsessed with my pregnancy. I became obsessed with what they're going to eat, breastfeeding versus bottle, formula versus what kind. And I realized that this is a universal trait. Mothers everywhere are obsessed with their children. I remember being on maternity leave and thinking I'm going to read all these books. And instead, you just focus on your children. Another thing happened, though, at about the same time, is I sort of stepped away from my career a little bit for the first time, really, in my life, and I wanted to find something a little bit more meaningful to do with my time. And I think that that's what moms today with young children do. They go online to find community. They go online to find purpose. And this is a way that they can connect in a meaningful way to create what we call the amplification effect of all of these voices. Now, we have partnered with some incredibly impressive people, and I'm going to give you a little bit of the infrastructure so you can see how it works. There are 1,000 mommy bloggers on Blog Frog, which is a blogging, organization that actually has 65,000 mommy bloggers. And think of the impact of you tell 2 friends and they tell 10 friends and so on and so on. And so it has an exponential impact if you take 1,000 mommy bloggers. What they do is they will interact with non-governmental organizations that we've partnered with and corporate partners that we've partnered with to create a meaningful dialogue that Rich said. Already we've launched, and people always say to you, why don't we have good news to report? I have some good news to report. We launched this 3 days ago, and we've already received 23 million social media impressions. That's reached 5.1 million people. Hundreds of discussions have started, and guess what? We've already raised $17,000. And just 3 days, think about it. I think of it as a sort of a formula. We take these mommy bloggers, we add the NGOs, we add a little television network that Rich and I work for, and you've got 1 million moms. Our goal is the Million Mom Challenge for a reason. You can dialogue. Our other partners are the UN Foundation. Obviously, they have done incredible work tirelessly over the decades to help women and children help their health needs and to bring, whether it's mobile technology or medicinal technology, to the people who need it most. So the UN Foundation will be working with these mommy bloggers, dialoguing, sharing information, sharing concepts. Our corporate partners include Baby Center, which is arguably, one of the biggest players out there. They have 10 million moms in the United States, 22 million moms globally, and they have, in this country, 7 out of 10 babies are on babycenter.com. I signed up for the birth clubs. Did you do that, where you put in your baby's birth date, and they give you sort of postpartum information at 6 weeks, at 6 months, at 1 year. And I love that newsletter. And that's the kind of dialogue and information sharing and storytelling and photo posting that you can do on Blog Frog. My prop fell over, but it's a good, mnemonic device to pick it up to tell you that this is actually a widget that you could see if you go to abcnews.com or Million Moms Challenge. If you click on here, it'll take you to Million Moms Challenge. If you're a mommy blogger, or if you're just a blogger, if you know what a tag is? If you put in the hashtag @MillionMoms, not @$1,000,000, hashtag Million Moms.
A million moms.
A million moms,
Yes.
Thank you very much. It will immediately take your blog into that conversation of a million moms. So it will enter into this echo chamber that will only strengthen and grow. Johnson & Johnson is another corporate partner, if you can imagine. $100,000 was donated by J&J for the first 100,000 people who sign up for the Million Mom Challenge. So there's still time. And then, of course, there are non-governmental organizations around the world that Richard has highlighted, that we've all done stories about. I'll name a few: CARE, World Vision, Medic Mobile. I did a story about the Hope phones in Africa. One, which is Bono's group, Mothers to Mothers, Partners in Health, which is very active in Haiti. All of these incredibly vital non-governmental organizations are partnering with us on this. So it's incredibly important. And today I have more news to break. We are launching and announcing the launch of a new video game on Facebook. So I encourage you to go to it. And right now, why don't I just play the video so you can get a sense of how it works. I like to think of it as a cross between Farmville and SimCity. Take a look.
How can we use social networking to change the future? The University of Southern California, the Global Alliance for Improved Nutrition, and ABC News developed a Facebook game to raise awareness about how good nutrition can save lives in 1,000 days. The goal is to set the government, food industry, nonprofits, and families in motion to promote good nutrition. You play these addicting mini-games where you fortify foods, help mothers breastfeed, catch a balanced meal, and at any time during the game, the player can link directly to organizations improving nutrition around the world. Remember, it's Facebook. Invite your friends, compete with them, and get involved in the fight for nutrition.
So this game will hook you up and have you join the conversation that, again, not that Farmville's bad, but instead of tending your farm virtually online, you can actually interact and have meaningful information about a baby's first 1,000 days and all that nutritional information. I want to thank the people who put together the game, the Institute for Global Health and the USC School for Cinematic Arts. They partnered with the Global Alliance for Improved Nutrition to create that Global Health Facebook game. And, it really will just feature maternal and child information about nutrition, and it will link us up with ABC's Be the Change. I just want to leave you with 3 thoughts, which, always leave me a little shaken and hopefully a little motivated about what to do, how we can help. Rich mentioned some of it, but globally, 195 million children under the age of 5 are stunted by malnutrition, by poor nutrition. And it's horrifying to think about this, but the global death rate for children from malnutrition is the equivalent of 8 school buses, fully loaded, crashing each hour of every day and killing everybody on board. And, if you think about what we would do if one of those school buses went off the, cliff, we would be in arms. But because it happens quietly and it happens out of our purview, we don't feel it as much. And so maybe joining this kind of conversation can help us feel it. That said, I don't want to leave you on a dark note, so I want to leave you with one more statistic, which is that good nutrition in developing countries can actually boost their economic productivity by as much as 3%. So if we think of this not just as a mother and child issue, but as an economic development issue, as a global progress issue, it's a great way of thinking through these issues. Rich, I don't know if you have anything more to say. We have 20 seconds left, and you know how cruel time can be.
That's right. Last 20 seconds. Please join the challenge. Don't wait. Sign up. Join it, and I think wonderful things will happen. Thank you very much.
Thanks for being here.